Noble M12, a British supercar from the early 2000s that still turns heads today. And you might even recognize this car from Forza Horizon, and I've got one. Behind me is our brand new Noble M12 3R. The reason why I say it's brand new is because this car only has 160 miles on it. This was owned by a close friend of ours who recently passed away, and he left us this car and another vehicle, which I'm going to show you in a future video. As far as we know, he's never ran the car, and I think that's because, oddly enough, it doesn't have a set of keys. So in today's video, you're going to see me go through trial and tribulation trying to get this thing running. One, we got to get keys. It's better than a doornail, but this car is absolutely perfect. It's literally a time machine. It's a brand new car from 21 years ago. So I'm gonna get it running, get it driving. Hope you guys enjoy this video. The first thing I needed to address with this car was one, the battery, because I knew it was bricked. There was literally no power even after trying to charge it. And then two was replacing the keys because the steering wheel column was locked and I literally couldn't even turn the wheel. Now, unfortunately, the battery is like way down in there. So once I got the battery replaced, I called out a locksmith who he believed we could pick the lock, and sure enough, we were able to get it to turn over, but I made a big mistake. All right guys, check this out. We're using a Tibble decoder. So once we get a key made, we're gonna turn this thing over and see if we can't get it running. Well guys, I said let me try, and I snapped the tool. So Danny's hitting it with the power drill. All right, so if you take a look at the key lock cylinder right there, obviously we drilled that out. So I can use a flathead screwdriver to turn the ignition on if I want to, like this. But on the other side of the column is these wires that connect like right here. So what I'm gonna do is cycle the ignition and figure out like the amperage and voltage to each one of these wires depending on what position the key's at. And then I'm gonna make an ignition on power switch right here next to the engine starter. So that way all I have to do is click power on, hold down the starter button, and that'll start the car instead of using the key on the column. To keep safety in mind, I designed this piece in Fusion 360 that'll allow me to key on and off the column. That way it'll never be locked. So I put it into my slicer, 3D printed it out, and then this is gonna live in the column so that I can always lock it or unlock it if needed. Yeah, I'm excited to see this. So the first car part has been printed, of many to come, I'm sure. So this thing's just clocking itself out. It's done with its last layer. We're gonna wait till that clocks 100%. And then we'll open it up, see what we got. Looks like it's unwinding the filament right here. I did get a couple different colors. We got black, gray, blue, and white. And what's cool about this printer is you could print different layers seamlessly and you don't have to change anything. So if you want part of it to be black and then switch it to blue, it'll just keep feeding the filament. So looks like it's bringing the, what's that called?
That's the Z-axis.
The Z, well, I know that, but the build plate, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. And it's hot in here. So what, I just pop this off?
You just pull it up.
Oh, it's like magnetic.
Yep.
Not used to that. Okay, you want to show me how to do it?
Just take it and crack it.
Like just like that, huh?
And these things here, when it's colder, it'll
Yeah.
pop off a little easier. Usually the but you just pull off like that.
Well, I'm just excited that I have a nicer printer than you do.
Nice.
You've got the 2023 version, I got the 2024 version, so. Cool, guys. Well, let's go see if this thing fits in the car. This is like my 4th version, but I was tired of printing it with my FDA cleared resins. It was just so expensive. A bottle of this stuff is like $1,000 versus this filament. A whole roll of it is like 20 bucks. So we'll see how this works. All right, so the goal with this part is that I can place this into the ignition here like this and use it to unlock the column since I no longer have a key in here. So there we go. So if it's all the way back, the column's locked, but I want to have a piece in here in case the column ever gets locked. I can just then go to unlock it. Since I no longer have a key in here, I'm just using this button to turn the car on and off. The power of 3D printing, guys. Don't knock it because it's pretty neat stuff.
All right, well, it's time to fire this thing up. I mean, all the fluids look fresh. Put a new battery in it. Everything's kind of lighting up on the dash. Still waiting on the immobilizer key to come in the mail, but I can key it in with a certain sequence.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't get the car started and I lost some footage in the meantime, but I was able to track things further down the line after replacing the fuel pump, and let me show you what I found. So after pulling all the injectors, it looks like they're pretty nasty. I mean, they've been sitting for 20 years, so I went ahead and ordered a new set. These are about $60. Everyone was telling me I should bench test these ones and see if they're worth anything, but I was able to get a fresh set for about $60, and I think for the time value there, this is worth just buying new ones. So I replaced every single fuel injector on the rail, and I tested it with a Noid light before putting the intake manifold back on, but unfortunately, we ran into an even bigger problem when I tested this. Whoa! Well, we've got some damage here. Looks like it blew this coil straight out of the freaking cylinder. That's not good. Is the spark plug still in there? Oh my gosh, the spark plug exploded down in there. Alright guys, this is mind-blowing. I mean, these spark plugs are some 20 years old, so I'm just gonna blame it on that, alright? I'm gonna get a fresh set of plugs. I can also get a new coil, because obviously it broke the mount off here, and this thing's absolutely shot. But if you take a look down in there, I don't know if you can see it, the spark plug's down in there, just like the base of it is still in the cylinder head. So I'm really hoping I'm not cleaning out or pulling a head off this thing to get that spark plug out, but we'll see. I want to clean that debris out of there first before I start digging at it. Started pulling all the other coils, and this is what one of them looks like. So I hope that spark plug is easily removed. Luckily it's on the same cylinder head, so worst case scenario, if this head needs to come out, we can get her fixed up. We'll see. Well, by some miracle I was able to retrieve the base of the spark plug, and then here's the coil. The ceramic is left the chat, and I turned the engine over a couple times, and obviously PB blaster and stuff that I use sprayed down into the hole, and hopefully every little bit of ceramic is out of there. Coil should be here tomorrow, and then we'll get those in. I'll get the new spark plugs in, and then we should be ready to turn this thing over. So pretty fired up, guys. We're getting real close. We know we have spark, we know we have injector because of the Noid lights flashing, so we're getting really close. All right, I've got it pushed outside. Got a fire extinguisher nearby because I messed with the fuel system, but it's time to get some fire in the pipe. So I went ahead and replaced the coils, new spark plugs, new fuel injectors, new fuel pump, got some fresh gas in it. I think she's ready to turn over, and fingers crossed. Neutral, clutch in. Whoa! Okay. All right, we got a car. Let's go. We need to check the oil, make sure everything's getting warm and up to temp, and I think I'm gonna heat cycle at one time, and then we can start driving it down the road. Let's go. The obvious next test is to drive around the parking lot and make sure that the tires spin and the brakes work, and then we can drive to the gas station, put some fuel in it. But it's holding temp. I got the coolant in there, and looks like we're holding temp on the thermostat there. There's really no oil pressure gauge other than this light, unfortunately. And then it idles kind of funny, but hey, we'll get that all dialed in here. But let's take her for a little spin in the parking lot and make sure everything works okay. Oh, butter! And the clutch and everything before I take it down the main road. I think I'm gonna drive it home and get some fuel in it, and I'm gonna bring you guys along for the ride. Here we go. I'm a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie. Got my fire extinguisher with me. And let's go get some fuel in this unit. I'm excited. Like, I really want to put this car on E85. There's a guy messaging me right now that just put his on a Haltech. And I was like, dang, a Haltech on E85 in this car. He's making like 600-700 horsepower and with a single turbo swap. A little tricky getting it in reverse. Gotta open the gate here. Woo, I'm a little nervous. We are running on fumes right now, but that's all right. That's all right. All right, I'm gonna put my camera down. It's sitting on the dash right now, and I wanna drive this thing. First drive is going great, guys. First drive's going great. Holding temps, sitting at about 2,000 RPM. Little turbo gauge, kind of cool. See if we can't pull a little gear here. Oh my gosh, those turbo noises! Shoo! Holy Jesus! This thing screams. I wouldn't want my fire hydrant to go off, so I'm gonna lay out of it a little bit. Well, damn! Those turbo noises are sick! Shoo! That's choo-choo. Getting to the gas station here. All right, babe, I know you're 9 months pregnant, but you ready to see this thing?
I'm ready.
Come check it out.
It's been a lot
sick.
of time. Wait, he wants to see it too.
All right, buddy.
He's been wondering. Ooh, that's fancy.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, are we taking that to the hospital?
You know it. So guys, I had to get this product done because we're literally going to the hospital tomorrow. And this is this is what we're gonna put the car seat in. Do you think there's room? Not really, huh?
It's a little tricky.
Looks a little tricky. What do you think, bud? Do you like it?
Do you like it, Winston? Look, it's here.
So we're having our first baby tomorrow. Pretty exciting. It's gonna be a boy, but not telling you the name. I'll post it on social media. We're excited. Actually, this video will be out by then, and his name's Maverick Thomas Mitchell. Not after Tom Cruise's name in Top Gun, whose literally name is Maverick Mitchell, but we thought it was kind of cool anyway, so. You like the car?
I love it.
It's sick,
I love
huh?
the interior too.
It shows so well too.
Ride?
You want to go for a ride real quick?
Yeah, he wants to go for a ride.
Okay. No, he's not allowed in it.
No, he wants to.
Do you want to go for a ride real quick?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
I wish that this could sit in the driveway instead of Gabby.
Gabby, the 12 valve. I mean,
she's not my bestie.
She has been leaking oil on the pavers.
She's so messy.
So I'm gonna have to pressure wash that off. She is a little messy, but hey, that's my Home Depot runner.
Yeah.
But we'll put this thing on the lift in the garage for sure. Yeah, it's full blown race. Big Mama's gotta climb in the race car.
All right.
We have an issue with it dying. I gotta adjust like the idle. All right, here we go.
This is so clean.
Well, yeah, it's a brand new car. It literally has 175 miles on it. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
it's 21 years old, 175 miles.
Does the AC work in here?
I haven't tried it yet. It's a race car. You don't need air conditioning.
I was just curious.
To the right, to the left.
Yeah.
You ready?
Oh. Oh gosh.
Kind of fun, right?
Is this safe?
Yes. It has harnesses, so you know it's safe.
Well, I know. I guess I could have just done the seatbelt, but I did the whole harness.
I can't wait to take you on a date in it.
I like this better than Dr. Pepper, but don't come for me, people.
It's not like the fastest car I've ever driven, but I think it's gonna be really fun for like date nights and go to car meets and car rallies and stuff.
It's really fun. Are you gonna keep it at the house?
For sure. For sure.
I'm sure the neighbors, guys, are just thrilled to hear this.
They are. We've got great neighbors. They love us.
They do love us. They're gonna be.
They love my truck in the driveway too. I found some neat pieces in here. Some old discs. We've got a little CD player back here, so the best of both worlds, Van Halen. Oh, you know we're gonna have that on repeat. A brand new 311. Oh, okay. Full Van Halen. So Chris has a pretty nasty GTR, and he keeps it over here at my house. So we're gonna put it underneath the Noble. Sheesh. Got the wide body unit on there. Car's looking good, dude. I'll guide you in. Yep. That's good. Probably the only car you'll put yours underneath of is a brand new one, huh?
Yeah, of course.
Caroline trying to put her strollers in here, and we said, not today. We're putting the race cars in here.
We'll need them tomorrow.
Yeah, dude, look at that combo. Dang. Does that look good or what?
Looks great.
That's sick. Oh, little thing I just got installed the other night. This is one of my dad's chores, was to install retractable power and air. So I ran air up through the attic, and I got a compressor over there that I stole from my dad. He doesn't know I stole it from him. But it'll be nice to have for tires, or even this little tornado thing. These things are sweet. It spins around and sprays. It's great for like cleaning your carpets or tight spaces, or even drying your car off.
Cool.
Sick combo, brother. That'd be the time to do it. Now I've got the belly pan off underneath this thing from when I was replacing the fuel pump, but look at how just clean it is under here. I mean, it's a brand new car. Probably a good idea to change the oil while we're under here, or while the car's up. But pretty sick, guys. Super pumped about this thing. Looks like we need to get an oil filter, which is right there, easily accessible. But dang, my brother welded that. Holy. About 5 years ago, I bought a car. Never changed the oil on it, and that ended up being a fatal mistake for that engine.
The Blazer gang has officially been made, is now a group of 4.
Time of death was
1:21 a.m. Jack stand, cause of death. What are you thinking?
Lack of maintenance.
Agreed.
Therefore, since this same engine oil has probably been sitting in this car for 20 years, I thought I better replace it. Luckily, you know, it looks like an aftermarket oil pan on this thing. It looks like they might have shortened it, maybe the stock one, or no, this looks fully aftermarket. And then the filter is just right here. So gonna get oil drained out of it, get a new copper washer, get some new oil. Might have to do a little bit of research there, but get some fresh fluids in there before we start putting some miles on it. Oh, wow. That is watery. I mean, it looks nice and yellow, but it's definitely very liquidy. Just for my own education, thought we would cut open the stock filter. It's probably the original filter from that was on the car. Make sure it's in decent condition. It's like a tin can. Doesn't look like there's any metal in here, which is a good thing. Now I'm gonna be kind of guessing how much oil this thing actually needs. Right online like 9 quarts, but that seems a little high. So I'm just gonna add 4 quarts and then kind of go from there. I know that the oil pan is aftermarket, and so we're just gonna kind of see what she takes. Worst case scenario, I can always drain some if I'm overfilling it, but we'll start off with 4 and go from there. So since I was running into that issue of breaking up, I was talking to some other guys that own Nobles, and they're like, hey, I gap my plugs at 25 thou. Well, I gapped them to the original specs of the original plugs I pulled out, which was 35 thousandths. And having owned race cars before, I know that the spark plug gap is really important. Also, if you look at, I don't even know what that's called, an electrode or something like that. This one looks like a freaking sharpened pencil versus these number 7s that I always ran in like my big turbo cars have a bigger platform to create a spark. So I gapped the new ones, these number 7s, to 27 thou. We'll try that instead of these that are at 36, and hopefully that fixes our breakup issue. Well, the wife and I are gonna take it on a date tonight before we head to the hospital, so I'm gonna get it cleaned up. First wash. All right, so plan was to take the car tonight to the beach to watch sunset with my wife before we go have a baby. But the car doesn't idle at all. So I'm having to like stay in the gas even at stoplights. And it's just not safe, especially with my wife who's literally gonna give birth tonight or tomorrow. So my plan is to hopefully still take it to Cars and Coffee this weekend. You'll either see it this next segment or you won't, depending on how things go at the hospital. But I parked the car, it still makes great power. I don't have any of that breaking up that I had yesterday after swapping the spark plugs and changing the gap on them. So I've got that dialed in, but now I gotta figure out this idle situation because this is driving me crazy. I don't know if it's something to do with the throttle linkage or something like that, or like an IAC, or I don't know. If you guys know, leave me a comment so that I can dig a little deeper on this because it's driving me nuts. But once I have that ironed out, the car should be pretty much done. I've already looked at doing like a ECU or like a standalone ECU. So we'll see what happens there, but let's go have a baby.
All right, guys, we've been in the hospital for 24 hours and Caroline's contractions are starting to rip. We're running into Tuesday evening and all the experienced nurses are thinking it's going to be a Wednesday baby. So 2-5 will be a pretty cool day.
Well, Mom and I have baby Maverick Mitchell home. And he is healthy. He's got all 10 fingers and 10 toes. Everything went perfect, guys. It was a beautiful labor and delivery, and glad to be home. But we have Cars and Coffee tomorrow morning. I got some parts in the mail. I'm gonna go work on the car in the garage. All right, guys. Well, I just got the baby settled down. It's time to work on the car, and this thing is not idling. I think I found out what the issue is, and it's this sensor on the exhaust wideband, and it is appeared to be damaged. I pulled it off the car and you can see that this outer sheathing here has been messed up, and so easy fix. I even pulled the sheathing back. It doesn't look like the wires are too damaged, but since I have one to swap it out, I went ahead and did that. So what was happening is it was zip tied really tight to this harness, wrapping around this heat shielding here that sits above the turbo, and essentially damaged the stock one. That would explain why the car started and idled just fine when I first got it going, but then started to have this issue after I drove it for about 10 to 15 miles. So I had a friend reach out. He had one in stock, so he sent it over, and then we also have a harness to hook it up to the car to adjust the tune if needed. Hopefully just swapping out the sensor will do the trick. If not, we'll get the computer hooked up and see if it needs any further adjustment. All right, well, looks like stretching out that wideband sensor got the car running and idling just fine. So really happy that we didn't have to retune the car and hook it up to the crazy aftermarket computer that's on this thing that I have absolutely no idea how to tune. So looks like we've got all the bugs wired out on this thing. For right now, I'm getting a weird tick. It sounds like there's an exhaust piece possibly loose somewhere in the back half over here. So I might have to diagnose that still, but looks like this thing is up and running after 20 years. I'm so excited to get this thing out and show it off to people. Personally, I think the coolest part about this car, besides the amazing lines on it, are the fact that it only has 175 miles on it since I drove it home. I mean, that's unbelievable. Pretty cool, guys. Well, I'm gonna let it sit here and idle for a little bit, get the car up to temperature, make sure that everything's running just fine, and then drive it over to Cars and Coffee tomorrow. It's pretty neat that after 20 years, I was able to get this car up and going by a matter of switching the fuel pump, putting new fuel in it, injectors, coils, spark plugs, and then a wideband for the exhaust. So pretty excited, guys. I think this is gonna be a really neat piece to drive around town and show it off because the lines on it are so cool, and you just don't see these cars every day like this beautiful piece of art right here. I mean, gosh dang, this thing's gorgeous, but there's a lot of GTRs out there. You just don't see a Noble M12 driving around. What a beauty. Heading over to Cars and Coffee this morning. Car's still not idling, so I definitely didn't fix it, but I think I've got a backup plan for that. Beautiful Florida morning with my dad headed to Cars and Coffee. All right, guys, got the car out here. This was my goal, was to make it to Cars and Coffee here. It's been quite the whirlwind of the week, getting this thing running and having a child, but we made it happen. And 7 a.m. and there's hundreds of cars already showing up. Pretty cool. Looks like this is Corvette Lane, but hey, grabbed an open spot and She's looking shiny. I had the hood and the bonnet open, but I think it looks better closed. The lines on this thing are just so fresh. So if there's one thing that this car is built for, it's the track. So in the next video, we're gonna be taking the Noble to the Freedom Factory to see what kind of lap times they can put down around the track and then put it in Spectator drags. But I've got a car right outside my garage right now that I'm calling out. I think I already know which one's gonna be faster, but you guys need to let me know in the comments. Is my brother's Turbo S going to be faster than the Noble at the Freedom Factory? Let me know. Drop a comment. We'll see you on the next video about the Noble at the Freedom Factory.